Trade partner for Browns Shedeur Sanders emerges after Week 1. Introduction. A rookie's name in trade rumors before his first snap. 1 week. That's all it took for the name Shedeur Sanders to re-enter the headlines in the National Football League. Not because of a dazzling throw or a late-game drive, but because of an entirely different force: speculation. The Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback, drafted in the 5th round despite pre-draft chatter that placed him much higher, has not yet taken a single snap in a regular season game. Yet, after Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season, Sanders is already being mentioned as a potential trade target for a desperate franchise. The buzz comes not from Cleveland, but from South Florida, where the Miami Dolphins opened their season in disarray. A blowout loss, shaky quarterback play, and restless fans created a perfect storm. Into that storm, social media threw a name: Shedeur Sanders. But how realistic is this speculation? And what does it say about Sanders' reputation, the Browns' long-term plans, and the unstable quarterback market across the NFL? To answer those questions, we must rewind to the first week of action, the pivotal plays that lit the spark, and the context surrounding both teams. Browns versus Bengals. A narrow loss, a window into Cleveland's future. The Browns' opener against the Cincinnati Bengals ended in frustration. A narrow 17-16 defeat that exposed both promise and problems. Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old veteran signed to stabilize Cleveland's offense, actually performed admirably on the stat sheet, completing 31 of 45 passes for 290 yards and 1 touchdown. Flacco showed he could still manage a game and deliver accurate throws. His 2 interceptions were hardly all his fault. Both tipped off the hands of his receivers before falling to the Bengals defenders. But football is not a game of excuses. A missed field goal and a missed extra point loomed large, leaving 4 points unclaimed in a 1-point loss. In the harsh math of the NFL, those 4 points meant everything. For Cleveland, the story was bittersweet. The defense looked solid, Flacco showed flashes, yet the result was another heartbreak. For Miami, however, the Browns' loss became the backdrop to a growing conversation. Could Shedeur Sanders be the answer to the Dolphins' quarterback woes? Dolphins' nightmare opener. Tagovailoa pulled. Fans lose patience. The Dolphins' season opener against the Indianapolis Colts wasn't just a loss. It was a 33-8 embarrassment. Tua Tagovailoa, fresh off signing a 4-year, $212.4 million extension, looked every bit like a quarterback struggling under the weight of expectation. His line 14 of 23 passing for 114 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, was a sobering reminder that talent and consistency don't always meet. Head coach Mike McDaniel, who entered the season with mounting pressure, made the dramatic decision to pull Tua from the game. The replacement, Zach Wilson, a quarterback once hailed as the Jets' savior, but now playing for his 3rd NFL team in just 5 years. Wilson's modest 32 yards passing on 8 attempts did little to inspire confidence. Rookie Quinn Ewers, a 7th-round pick out of Texas, remained a spectator, underscoring the lack of trust in Miami's depth. As the scoreboard widened, Dolphins fans turned restless. On social media, chants emerged: "Trade for Shedeur Sanders." Why Sanders? A rookie's reputation and untapped potential. The speculation around Shedeur Sanders isn't random. It is rooted in a story that stretches back through his college career, draft night, and the hype surrounding his last name. As the son of Deion coach Prime Sanders, Shedeur entered the NFL with both expectations and scrutiny. At Colorado, he dazzled, showing poise in the pocket, pinpoint accuracy, and the ability to extend plays under pressure. Scouts saw first-round talent. But draft night told a different story. Concerns about his ability to adapt to NFL defenses, questions about his mobility in collapsing pockets, and whispers about maturity pushed him down to the 5th round, where Cleveland scooped him up. In Cleveland, Sanders sits at QB3, behind Flacco and rookie Dylan Gabriel, who secured the QB2 spot after a strong preseason. The reality is that Sanders may not see the field this year. Yet the very fact that fans are calling for his acquisition tells you how highly his potential is still regarded. Bleacher Report: Sanders as Miami's hope. Bleacher Report's Andrew Peters captured the mood perfectly. Sanders, who was widely expected to be a first-round pick, but was taken in the 5th round, is currently the third-string quarterback on the Browns' depth chart, so he likely won't get the chance to prove himself in Cleveland anytime soon. For Miami fans, that sounds like opportunity. For Cleveland, it's leverage. A young quarterback with name recognition, untapped potential, and zero NFL wear and tear could be a valuable trade chip. The reality check: Dolphins' hands are tied. Despite fan desperation, the Dolphins are unlikely to make a bold move this early. Tagovailoa's contract runs through 2028, with massive guarantees that make moving on financially daunting. The franchise has invested not just money, but years of system building around Tua's skill set. Yes, head coach Mike McDaniel may eventually be forced to consider alternatives to save his job. Analysts like Bill Simmons have even listed him among the top candidates to be the first coach fired in 2025. But firing a coach is different than abandoning a franchise quarterback. For now, Tua remains the starter, Wilson remains the backup, and Ewers is the developmental project. Sanders is nothing more than a fantasy trade piece. Cleveland's position: patience, not panic. From Cleveland's perspective, trading Shedeur Sanders makes little sense, at least not now. The Browns' no Flacco is a short-term bridge. Gabriel, while promising, isn't proven. Sanders represents both insurance and a developmental project. Unless an overwhelming offer arrives, the Browns gain more by keeping him than by shipping him out. Moreover, Cleveland faces a brutal schedule in the coming weeks. 5 straight games against 2024 playoff teams. If Flacco falters or gets injured, Gabriel will be first in line. But if disaster strikes twice, Sanders may suddenly find himself pressed into service. Trading him away before the early November deadline would strip the Browns of flexibility. Injuries, market forces, and the QB carousel. The NFL is a league defined by volatility. One week, a team feels set at quarterback. The next, an injury changes everything. Already, franchises are scrambling. The San Francisco 49ers lost star tight end George Kittle to a hamstring injury, forcing backups like Jake Tonjes to step up. Around the league, players are sidelined, depth is tested, and front offices are reassessing. This is the environment in which Shedeur Sanders' name will keep surfacing. Even if Cleveland has no intention to trade him, rival GMs will be watching. A sudden injury to a starter could turn Sanders from an afterthought into a hot commodity. Monday night controversy: Vikings versus Bears. While trade rumors swirled in Cleveland and Miami, Monday night delivered a different kind of drama. The Minnesota Vikings faced the Chicago Bears in a game that swung on a controversial pass interference call. With 9:57 left in the 4th quarter, the Vikings trailed 17-12 when rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy threw toward Jalen Nailor. Nailor slipped and the ball fell incomplete. Yet officials threw a flag, ruling pass interference on Chicago for a 14-yard penalty. On the ESPN broadcast, Troy Aikman voiced immediate disagreement. Rules analyst Russell Yerk backed him, saying, "It looks like he more slipped than anything. I don't think that's significant hindrance. I wish they had gotten together and picked it up." The penalty extended Minnesota's drive, and McCarthy capitalized, finding Aaron Jones for a 27-yard touchdown. A successful 2-point conversion gave the Vikings their first lead of the night. Chicago never fully recovered. Minnesota went on to win 27-24, but for Bears fans, the PI call will linger as the symbol of a game that slipped away. McCarthy's redemption. Beyond the controversy, the game showcased J.J. McCarthy's resilience. After a shaky first half, the rookie finished 13 of 20 passing for 143 yards and 3 total touchdowns, leading Minnesota's comeback. For the Vikings, it was validation. For Chicago, it was another bitter pill in a season already tinged with frustration. Conclusion: the NFL's never-ending drama. From Cleveland's quarterback depth chart to Miami's desperation, from controversial officiating in Chicago to injuries in San Francisco, Week 1 proved once again that the NFL thrives on storylines beyond the field. For Shedeur Sanders, the speculation may be flattering but remains premature. He is, for now, a developmental quarterback in Cleveland, unlikely to move unless the market forces overwhelm the Browns front office. But if there's one thing we know about the NFL, it's that nothing stays stable for long. A missed kick, a bad interception, an untimely injury, any of these could thrust Sanders into the spotlight. He hasn't played a snap, yet already he's part of the league's most enduring conversation. Who has the quarterback, and who needs one? And that's why, even from the sidelines, Sanders' name won't disappear anytime soon.